Ayan, good afternoon, Tutor Jules, and good afternoon sa ating mga viewers from all over the Philippines, ating mga senior high school learners, our teachers, and parents na nanonood po ngayon. Happy Monday po sa ating lahat. So I hope you are starting the week right, no, Tutor Jules? Kamusta po kayo?
Okay naman po.
Ayan, so
Happy po ang Monday.
yes, kahit medyo nakatanggap tayo ng medyo malungkot na balita, no, just recently, parang may earthquake, no, sa Negros Occidental ata yun. Ayan. So I hope ang ating mga kapatid po dyan ay you're safe, no? You're doing great and fine pa rin po. Kaya naman po sa ating mga senior high school learners and especially to our Filipino learners, ihanda na po ang puso at isipan sa panibagong linggo na puno ng aghamazing na pagkatuto dito lamang sa Senior High School Itulay. Sa ating subject na Earth and Life Science. Muli, I am Tutor Tony of Novaliches High School, Quezon City, and we will be your guide together with Tutor Jules. No? We will be your guide as we discover more about our magnificent planet and its mechanisms. So I think we are now ready, Tutor Jules, for our quarter one, week number 3. And we will be dealing about Earth's internal heat and magmatism. Ayan, so samahan nyo kami ni Tutor Jules sa susunod na 40 minutes ng ating umaatikabong, yes, umaatikabong talakayan about our unique and amazing planet.
Hello, konting lang po, reminder po dun sa ating mga present ngayon from Nasita
Yes.
National High School, from Quirino National High School, Chade
Ayan,
Alibaba
oo.
National High School, and
Ayan,
who else? Daniel R. Aguinaldo National High School, Davao City.
ang ating
Meron din
suki
po
from
tayo, yan
Davao.
po. And Quirino National High School. Okay po?
Ayan, so good afternoon po sa inyong lahat. Nakikita ko yung mga suki nating mga senior high school learners, nakakatuwa naman po, no? So, hindi
Yes po.
bumibitaw mula week number 1. Ayan, so ano nga bang na-expect nating for this week? Ayan, so I hope
Okay,
everyone's ready.
As I've said before, dapat laging nasa place ng home na malakas ang internet connection, prepare the notebook and ballpen for the
Yes.
important concepts, and prepare yourself.
Okay, ihanda na ang mga sarili because we are now ready to announce our senior high school Earth and Life Science tutor, teachers, students, and class of the week. So isang maalab na pagbati ng congratulations sa ating mga ELS teachers of the week. Sino-sino ba sila, Tutor Jules?
Okay, for the Earth and Life Science Teachers of the Week.
So we have, ma'am, sige po, go ahead, ma'am.
Aurora E. Berganio from Dinapigen National High School, Isabela.
Ayan. Thank you very much po sa patuloy na
Kay
pagsuporta.
Ma'am Genevieve M. Pepito, Daniel R. Aguinaldo National High School, Davao City.
Yes.
Consistent si Ma'am.
Yes po, ang ating tutor Jen ng Science 7. So tutukan nyo rin po ang kanyang mga sessions every Monday. I think mga nasa 1 o'clock ang slot ni, time slot ni Ma'am Jen or ni Tutor Jen. And who are our ELS student or class of the week? And they are from grade 12, Sapphire.
Okay.
Yan, from Alibadbad National High School all the way from Isabela. So their class advisor is, good afternoon po, Ma'am Irma Vanessa M. Manuel. So congratulations, you are our
teacher ng Earth and Life Science.
Ayun. So maraming salamat po. You are our ELS class of the week. And of course, let's recognize our ELS students of the week, Tutor Jules. Who are they?
Okay, the students of the week. Daniela, Shakina, Jamaica, and Amir.
Amir, ayan. So congratulations.
And
syempre,
top 1 natin?
Top 1 natin last week. She's none other
From
than
Daniel R. Aguinaldo National High School, Davao City, no other than Samantha Nicole Padayaw.
Ayan, I think nanonood si Sam or si Samantha ngayon. Nakita ko yung name niya kanina sa comments. Ayan, congratulations Samantha. So tuloy-tuloy lang po ang ating pagsuporta, pag-share, hindi lamang po sa ating ELS or Earth and Life Science. You can also share all the other sessions ng ating mga Itulay sessions para mas marami pa po ang maabot ng ating mga tutorials. Alright, so ano nga ba ang ating mga most essential learning competencies for this week, Tutor Jules?
Okay,
ayan,
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Mahusay kayo talaga, mga...
Hashtag mahusay.
For the most
So our
essential learning
first,
competencies for this session, describe where the Earth's internal heat comes from, saan galing ang heat, and
yes.
describe how magma is formed, or known as the
Okay.
magmatism.
All right. Ayan, shout out lang mabilis ma'am no sa aking former student na nag-enroll, na convince ko mag-enroll, mag-aral ulit no. So working student siya. Si Salundagit, hello anak. Pagbutihan na ngayon ng pag-aaral ha. Ayan, so let's proceed with our review, Tutor Jules.
Ayun, saglit lang po. From Kaibiga High School, ayan, nakapasok ng 11 gas, 11
Yes.
humes. Okay? Nakita ko
Ah,
mga anak.
okay. Ayan,
So,
from
yung ABM
Kaibiga.
wala pa, nakatulog pa yata yung ABM or hindi ko na-send yung link. Okay, good afternoon. So, go back to this, let us recall the lesson from the previous session, the classification of rocks. We talk about igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. You have learned that it is the cooling or the solidification of the molten magma. And then in sedimentary, forms through the different process. One is the erosion, second is the deposition, and then the compaction and cementation. And metamorphic, there are two types. It is the transformation of the rock from one rock to another through the process of metamorphism, contact, or regional metamorphism.
Metamorphism.
And then we discuss also the exogenic process, the geologic process that occur on the surface of the earth, the weathering, erosion, and deposition. In weathering, we discuss the two types of weathering, the physical and chemical weathering. Weathering is also known as the mechanical weathering. We discuss the factors that can lead to the deformation of the particles of the rocks. And then in chemical weathering, we discuss the different chemical reaction, the dissolution, oxidation, and the hydrolysis.
Hydrolysis.
Okay, so and we emphasize the importance of soil. Soil is a product
Yes.
of exogenic process that is an essential factor for life and cycles in nature to continue. So for the first lesson of today's lesson will be discussed by Sir Tony. Okay,
Yes.
Sir
So,
Tony.
I hope everyone's ready na. So, maraming salamat. So, sabi ko nga kanina, no, maalab na pagbati. Kasi kanina dito sa Metro Manila, specifically sa aming lugar, dito sa Caloocan City, no, kanina umuulan, tapos ngayon naman sobrang init. So, tama-tama sa ating discussion, which is our milk number 1. We'll be talking about the Earth's internal heat. So, ano nga ba ang role ng heat na ito? So, when we discuss or when we had our week number 1, nalaman natin na isa sa mga contributing factor kung bakit nakakapag-provide ng buhay sa planetang Earth is of course is yung heat. So if you would remember, that is WHA. So water, heat, and the presence of our atmosphere. Okay, so heat ang pinaka-concentration natin this week. And as seen on our presentation, it says here, heat energy plays a vital role in our planet. It is one of the factors that makes the world livable. So the heat inside our planet moves continents, it also builds mountains, and of course, naramdaman natin just recently no, nagkakause siya ng mga natural hazards like earthquakes. So our main focus for this afternoon is, where does all this heat inside the Earth come from? So we all know that the Earth's internal location, yung pinakagitna, of course, is made up of different substances. So, mamaya, malalaman natin. At alam natin na, ayan ay mainit, sobrang init. Diba, Tutor Jules? Sige, let's proceed
Yes
po na
po.
sa next slide.
Okay po.
Ayan, so before we do that, let's have a quick review lang. So I hope you can answer or participate pa rin. Paulanan natin ng mga comments ang ating comment section para at least active na active pa rin tayo this afternoon. So let's, sige ma'am, next nyo na po. So let's just review the different structure of the layers of the Earth. So alam nyo na, of course, the outermost and the thinnest layer, which is the crust, followed by, of course, your mantle, and of course, your core. And of course, the crust has two types, the oceanic crust and the continental crust. Yung oceanic crust, pinaka-ocean bottoms natin, no? Sila yung nag-hold ng ating mga oceans, while of course, the continental crust are the ones na nag-hold ng ating 7 continents. When we say mantle, it is divided into two, the upper mantle and the lower mantle. And finally, of course, the core, ang pinakagitna. It's made up of the outer core and the inner core. Right now on your screen, class, you can see the different structure. Ayan. So, sa right side, yung pinaka-entire structure niya. And on the left side naman, meron tayo dito yung pinaka, parang hinati siya by level. Ayan, sa isa lang natin, no? So, if you're going to take a look closer at the first layer sa crust natin, so as you can see that we have here the continental crust and the oceanic crust. And of course, we have a region called asthenosphere. Ayan, asthenosphere. Between the crust and the upper mantle, yung kulay violet. Ayan. So you are being guided, no, color-coded yung mga layers natin. And the colors will also suggest yung thickness ng bawat layers natin. All right. And we also have, or we also encountered from the past sessions, ma'am, pakabalik po. The past sessions po, yung word na lithosphere. So when we say lithosphere, you have to remember that the lithosphere is comprised of the crust plus the asthenosphere. Okay? So madali lang naman tandaan. So pag sinabing asthenosphere, ito yung specific layer na dinefine ng mga geologists natin to indicate yung boundaries or yung gitna between the crust and the upper mantle. As you can see, ayan, the mantle is divided into two, the upper and the lower mantle, and of course, the core is divided into two as well, the outer at saka inner core. Ayan, thank you, Ma'am Jules. Next na po tayo. Ayan, may mga nakiki-review sa atin. Oh, crust, mantle, core. Thank you so much. All right, let's now focus on the different sources of heat. So, dalawa lang naman po ang ating sources of heat. The first one is what we call the primordial heat. Ayan, so nagbigay na ako ng clue phrase or clue words for you para madali nyo matandaan. So the word primordial pertains to existing from the beginning. So nag-exist na siya from the time na napo-form ang ating planeta. Okay? Another source would be the radiogenic heat. So from the word radiogenic, it pertains to the heat produced by radioactivity processes. So nangyayari sa inside ng ating planeta. So let's focus now on the first, which is the primordial heat. Ayan. Tutor Zai is also watching right now. Hi, Tutor Zai. Primordial heat. Oh, so ano ibig sabihin ng ano ba ibig sabihin natin ng primordial heat? So existing from the beginning. So if you would define it, so primordial heat is the heat that comes from the accretion, so tandaan yung word accretion and bombardment of the Earth during the early stages of the formation. And if you will notice, ayan, ganyan, very fiery, ang ganyan ng pinaka-itsura ng ating planeta. So hindi siya ganun ka-stable, wala pang water, wala pang atmosphere, kumbaga wala pang buhay. Kumbaga, nag-start pa lang kasi siyang mag-form during the formation, of course, ng ating solar system. So na-form yung sun natin, and then while na-form ang sun, napo-form na rin yung mga planetesimals na tinatawag. Ayan. So yung mga planetesimals na yan, siya yung mga magiging mga major planets at saka minor planets and all the other members ng ating solar system. So going back, so the word accretion. Pag sinabi naman natin accretion, parang it can be related to the word accumulation. So parang nag-iipon-ipon. So you can see, ayan, may mga particles dyan, mga space particles, eventually, because of gravity, na-form siya into planetesimals and then eventually magiging planet siya or maging full-fledged siya na planet. Bakit sir kaya or bakit kaya nagiging factor yung bombardment? So pag sinabi natin bombardment, pinauulanan or parang binubugbog siya ng mga space objects. So ganyan ka-violent yung during the formation of our planet. So it can be likened to parang I don't know if you experience this one, no, Tutor Jules. Nung dati ng mga bata pa tayo, nung nag-iipon tayo ng mga tansyan, di ba? Yung mga gawa sa metal.
Yes po.
Mga soft drink cups or clowns. So, ang ginagawa namin, lalo na kapag malapit na yung Pasko, iipunin yan, kukuha sa tindahan, tapos pupukpukin ng martilyo, di ba? So if you will notice, habang pinupukpok natin or pinaflatten natin yung metal, it produces heat. So parang ganun yung nangyari during the early formation ng ating planeta. Right?
During the accretion, there is continuous movement of the rocks, and then yung movement nila yon, that is the kinetic energy. The kinetic energy transform into thermal energy, and that thermal energy is deposited or that is the heat energy deposited in the inner part of the earth.
Yun.
So,
So kumbaga
yun yung
nag-rest
primordial
siya
heat.
sa center. Yes, that's what we call the primordial heat. Next slide po. Ayan. So ang focus ng ating discussion would be homogeneous accretion. Meron pa kasi tayong tinatawag na other types of accretion. So ang ating focus for this afternoon would be homogeneous accretion. So from the word homo, the same. So when we say homogeneous accretion from our reference, the similar elements stick together and they create a solid mass. So the heat generated in this process, tulad ng sinabi ni Tutor Jules, kinetic energy kasi there's movement, and because there is
Mm-hmm.
movement, nagkakaroon ng thermal energy or heat energy. So the heat
Yes.
generated in this process melts the particles, and then eventually, yung mas denser na mga particles ay pumunta sa pinakagitna. Okay, as you can see in our diagram. The heavier elements sink to the center because one factor would be the gravity, creating the Earth's solid core. So basically, ang ating core is, if you would recall, no, sa inyong science 10, is made up of iron and nickel. So mas mabigat, so syempre, settle down siya sa pinaka-center. So that's what we call homogeneous accretion. Ayan. So that's what we call
Okay.
primordial heat. So let's proceed to
Yes
the
po.
second source of heat. Ito na yung mas talaga mas
Wait
evident.
lang sir, at
Yes
kanina
po.
pa itong si Amir. Yes, Amir. Hello, good afternoon. 11 ABM, gising na kayo. Invite your classmate, mga anak. Continue, sir.
Ayan. Share na ating links. Okay, so let's proceed with our second source of heat, which is the radiogenic heat. So katulad nga kanina, no, ang clue word natin for radiogenic is radioactivity. So ano nga ba yung radioactivity? If you would recall sa inyong chemistry class, no, pag sinabi nating radioactivity, it is the spontaneous emission of
Emission of
radiation in the form of particles of high energy photons resulting from the nuclear reaction. So nangyayari yan sa inside or interior part ng ating planeta. So bakit kailangan mag-undergo ng radioactivity, Tutor Jules? Kasi may mga elements tayo na unstable, and para maging stable sila, kailangan silang mag-undergo ng tinatawag na radioactive decay. Para at least ma-serve nila yung purpose nila at maging stable sila. And
and it is
primarily,
the natural
uh,
that is their nature. Okay, there are
yes.
elements that is radioactive by nature.
Yes. And speaking of radioactive by nature, ito yung mga main sources natin, no? They have what we call the four long-lived isotopes which has large half-life. So sila si potassium-40, pinapakilala ko sa inyo, potassium-40, thorium-232,
Uranium
uranium-235,
235.
and uranium-238. So yung number na yan, sa chemistry nyo, if you would remember, no, they are called isotopes. So they are coming from the same element, pero meron silang different number ng neutrons. Kaya nagkakaroon siya ng different mass. Pero basically, ang kanilang element ay, elemental composition ay isa lang naman. So again, that's what potassium-40, thorium-232, and uranium-235, and uranium-238. Ayan. So your teachers might ask, no, yun yung mga main sources ng radioactivity that causes radiogenic heat. Next po.
Okay po.
Ayan.
So,
And because of the radiogenic heat, Tutor Jules, ayan, the radioactive decay heats of the magma in our asthenosphere, di ba? Nakita niyo yung asthenosphere kanina, creating a current called convection current. So current, para siyang pagdaloy. Ayan, kasi meron tayong tinatawag na ocean current, wind current, pero ang focus natin for this afternoon, yung tinatawag natin na convection current. So convection pertains to a process of heat transfer. Didiscuss natin yan mamaya. So nangyayari yan, of course, sa region ng ating mantle. As you can see, pwede siyang i-liken sa kung paano gumagalaw yung mga warm molecules papataas at yung mga cooler molecules naman pababa. That's why it creates a certain kind of current. As seen on our animation, short animation natin, Tutor Jules, sa next slide natin. Ayan. So it
ayan.
creates a sort of current, what we call the convection current, responsible for many different geologic processes na nararamdaman or nararanasan natin dito sa ating planeta. So they are actually part of the different cycles ng ating nature. So very important yan na mangyari talaga sa within the interior ng ating planet. All right. Next po. Ayan. Finally, additional information for radiogenic heat. So heat coming from the Earth caused by radiogenic heat is extruded. Inilalabas yan via active tectonic activities. When we say tectonic, pertains to the plates, no, yung mga nagbabanggaan plates or moving plates that causes volcanism, yung mga eruption ng ating volcanoes, especially, of course, the active volcanoes, that's volcanism, And then finally, yung paggalaw ng ating mga plates or what we call the plate movements. Ayan. So, kaya nga tayo nagkakaroon ng mga sudden movements na nagpo-cause naman ng earthquakes. Ayan. So, good
Okay,
afternoon.
ready.
Ayan, good afternoon sa ating mga viewers. Ayan, so sana maging respectful. Reminder lang to be respectful with our comments. Tsaka wag lang puro comments. So syempre dapat nakikinig pa rin kasi naglatag kami or naghanda rin kami ng mga different learning tasks for you to answer like this one. So first is you have to identify the sources of internal heat by writing RH. So team RH ba? Radiogenic heat or team PH?
Or PH.
That refers to primordial heat. So number one, so
Okay, ready
please
na
type your
kayo.
please type the item number sa inyong comment tapos yung sagot ninyo. Number 1, RH or PH hanggang item number 5. All right?
Okay.
Number 1.
Hello, Shakina. Shakina,
Ayan.
Micaela Patigayon. Ready na nga, anak. Learning task. Number
Okay,
1.
number 1, presence of different isotopes of heat-producing element in the mantle and crust. So you have the clue. So dapat as senior high school learners, no, kapag nagsasagot tayo ng mga test items, we look for clue words. And of course, number 1 refers to or was the answer, Tutor Jules, for number 1? Let's show it.
So,
So
ayun,
the
meron
word is
na. Samantha
isotope.
Nicole Padayaw. Yan, ito yung top 1
Kinumpleto niya
natin,
na.
yes. Oo, natapos na niya.
Kinumpleto. Check natin. Ayan,
Okay.
number 1.
Number
Nice
1,
try. So dapat
it's
radiogenic heat kasi it involves different
radiogenic.
isotopes. Number
Okay.
2,
Okay.
internal heat.
Number 2.
Number 2, internal heat accumulated during the planet's formation. So nagpo-form pa lang yung planetang Earth kanina and that is your, please show the answer. Thank you for answering, Neil,
Okay.
Jonette,
Natalia,
Jubilin.
who got the correct answer?
Pa-show na po na answer,
Number
ma'am.
2. Jonette Balubar got the correct answer. Yes,
Alright,
you're
so that
right,
is, of
Jonette.
course, primordial heat. Number 3, release of accretional energy. That's our word earlier, accretion. And that pertains or refers to,
Number 3, we are
bilisan po
waiting.
natin, ma'am.
Sige, sagot lang.
Opo,
Shakina,
habol na lang ng sagot.
Lorenzo. Okay, the answer is...
The answer, of course, is number 3,
Okay,
primordial
number
heat.
3, primordial heat.
Number
So,
4, the
Micaela got the correct answer.
correct answer.
And
Thank you
number
for
4,
answering. Ayan. Number 4, processes involved in mantle convection. So, ano yung nagkukos ng current, ng convection current dun sa mantle? Is it primordial heat or radiogenic heat? Let's see the answers.
Okay, number 4.
May mga
That
teachers din tayo
is...
nakikisagot.
Ayun.
Number 4 is RH. Good job. Ayan, sinasabayan ng kanilang mga
Okay,
estudyante.
you're
Very
right.
good.
Sabay na. Okay,
And
right. The last
finally,
one, number 5.
release of thermal energy as a result of spontaneous nuclear disintegration. Of course, yung mga nuclear parts or the nucleus ng ating mga isotopes. The answer, of course, for number 5, Tutor Jules, is
Okay, number 5.
radiogenic heat. So, nice
Here.
try yung iba.
Okay, very
Baka
good.
naligaw ng ano nila.
Brian,
Alright,
kailan walang
radiogenic.
number? Pakilagay yung number before you type
Yes.
your answer. Okay, so
Okay,
that
I think
is
most of
learning
them,
task number 1.
number 1. So I think nakinig, sanay sa multitasking, Tutor Jules. Nakikinig and then
Okay.
nagko-comment. Very good, mahusay. Let us now proceed with the discussion of the different methods of heat transfer. So let's just make it quick kasi review lang naman ito. So when we say methods of heat transfer, I think this was discussed during your elementary science, mga grade 4, and of course, part din siya ng discussion on junior high school science ninyo. And if you recall, we have 3 methods of heat transfer, namely conduction, convection, and radiation. So let's discuss each one right now. Ayan, so it can be likened into yung kanina pa rin, parang nag-iinit tayo every time we cook. So there's conduction every time na yung heat coming from the stove. Ayan, so conduction basically kasi is the transfer of heat among solids. So pag sinabi naman natin convection, ayan, based on our diagram, nangyayari yan of course sa ating mga fluids. When we say fluids, it happens among liquids and gases. So yung movement ng warm na water at saka ng cooler na water. And of course, radiation, nagra-radiate sa empty space itong heat coming from our heat source, which is the flame from our stove. So the first form of heat transfer is what we call conduction. So as I have mentioned, it is the process by which heat energy is transmitted through collisions, nagbabanggaan. At the same time, natatransfer yung kinetic energy in thermal energy from from one atom to the neighboring atoms. And of course, it happens among solids. Sa scale ng ating planeta, conduction happens in the Earth's surface. So kanina, yung pinakita namin na diagram ni Tutor Jules, comparison lang yon. So we are referring to or i-relate natin siya kung paano nag-interplay. So actually connected sila senior high school learners. Connected ang conduction, convection at saka radiation kung paano nababalanse yung init dito sa ating planeta. So once again, conduction happens in the Earth's surface. And if you will notice, heat from the Earth's core and radiation from the sun is transferred to the surface of the Earth by conduction. And since conduction, may contact, so may magdidikit dyan. So contact of the atmosphere with these warm surfaces transfers thermal energy, which then heats up the rest of the air through convection. So if you'll notice, di ba, may interplay. So hindi lang conduction. Kumbaga, meron pa rin convection. And let's proceed with convection, Tutor Jules.
Okay, saglit lang po, sir. John Dexter Alsola Delmo, 11 Gas, Look National High School. Saan ba to ang Look National High
Look,
School?
saan ba yung Look? Sa Visayas ba yan? Sa Mindanao or sa Luzon?
Wow, ang layo.
Please inform us, saan ba yung Look? Sa Bohol ba yun? I don't know. Alright, let's
Parang
proceed.
may bagong
Convection.
school.
Convection naman, Tutor Jules. So kaninang conduction among solids, mga solid particles.
And
Convection naman happens among fluids, or when we say fluids in chemistry, it pertains to liquids and gases. So kanina, we discussed kung saan nangyayari yung conduction. Ang convection naman primarily happens in the outer core, and of course, as you have seen sa animation natin kanina, it happens in the mantle. In convection current, the mantle of the Earth moves slowly because of the transfer of heat from the interior of the Earth up to the surface. Pero hindi naman natin syempre mararamdaman yan. Kumbaga yung movement na yan ay mararamdaman lang natin kapag gumalaw na, may sudden movement na sa ating mga tectonic plates. And please take note that convection is a more, pabalik po Tutor Jules, sandali. Very important concept kasi yun. Ayan. Convection is a more efficient means of heat transport in the Earth compared to pure conduction. Pero of course, conduction plays an important role. So conduction, convection, and then finally, we have, ayan, so alam na nila yan, yung movement ng ating convection currents. Finally, let's proceed with the last. We have radiation, or the transfer of heat in empty space or contactless transfer. Parang ano lang to, no? Contactless tracing sa COVID-19. No? So contactless kasi nga walang particles na involved. So it happens in the empty space. So saan ba to nangyayari sa planeta? So it happens between the atmosphere and the Earth's surface at meron ding radiation. Please take note, baka iniisip nyo kasi radiation sa ano lang sa parang pinakalabas. It also happens in the hottest parts of the core and the lower mantle. So most probably nasa ano yan, nasa outer core at saka sa lower mantle na yan talaga. So one example would be when the land and water become warm in summer, they emit long wavelength infrared radiation that is readily absorbed by the atmosphere. This continues during nighttime too. Ayan. So speaking of radiation, na-discuss natin yan during week 1, di ba? So some are being absorbed while some are being reflected back to the outer space. Of course, ginawa ni God ang planeta natin na kumbaga it is balanced. But because of pollution, so nagkakaroon tayo ng greenhouse gases emission, and these greenhouse gases, kapag nagstay na yan sa atmosphere natin, it traps heat. Kaya nga nagkakaroon tayo ng global warming na tinatawag. Kumbaga, nakaka-experience tayo ng init na beyond sa ginawa or sa i-design ni God na when He was creating the planet. Ayan. So that's conduction, convection, and radiation. All right, Tutor Jules?
Okay, saglit lang po, sir. Tristan John Jose of 12 Andromeda. Anong school ka na?
Yes. Andromeda
And
is, I
then,
think, sa
meron
Daniel.
tayong bago.
Sa
ABM
Davao.
11, Tanza National Comprehensive High School in
Okay.
Tanza, Cavite. Then, Quirino National High School. Okay, so let's have this, the learning task, the sentence completion, based from the concept presented by Tutor Tony. So let us complete the sentence below. Okay, so here you are going to use the following words: the convection current, the crust, the Earth's plates, the earthquakes, plate tectonics, plates, and volcanic eruption. So
All
for
right.
number one, please type the number and your answer. The surface
Mm-mm.
layer of the Earth is called the blank. So what do you call to the surface? Okay, number one is crust. Thank you. You're right, Neil Mendoza. This layer
Okay.
is broken up into pieces called. Okay, what is the next? Number two. This layer is broken up into pieces called, it is known as the Earth's plate. And this blank, it is related to number two. Okay, it is related to number two, float, float on the mantle. So in number two, okay. So in number two, it's plate and yun kay sa manta. And then heat, rising and falling inside the mantle creates current called number
Mm.
four. So what is number four? Heat rising and falling inside the mantle creates the current
Creates
called that a
the
convection
convection
current.
current.
Yan. Okay. So next, let's have number five. The blank current move the plates. This
Of
movement is
course.
known as
Mention
blank.
na
The
yan.
movement of the earth plate causes the blank and the other. So in number five,
The answer is
that is convection current. Related yan sa number 4. Current move the plates. This movement is known as, what do you call to that movement? Number 6. For number 6, okay, that is plate tectonics.
all right. Number
And
6, plate
number
tectonics.
7, the movement of the earth plates causes 7 and 8. Ano tong 7 and 8?
The
Ayun,
sudden movement
di
it causes. Let's show the answer na, ma'am.
the earthquakes and
All right.
the volcanic eruption. Ayan. Okay, so thank you guys.
Ayan.
So for the second objective for this day, we will talk about magmatism. That is the magma. It is the process of the formation of the magma and the movement of the magma underneath. So let's start with the definition or the description of magma. Magma is composed of semi-liquid hot molten rock located beneath. So that is the animation of magma. And let us compare the magma and lava. What is the difference between magma and lava? Ayan, minsan na pagbabaliktad, ano? So, a magma is a molten rock is stored under the Earth's surface. And lava is molten rock that has reached the Earth's surface through the volcanic vents. The magma and lava are both molten rocks. And then, they are differ in their location. So, magma, it is stored in the magma chamber. Nandito siya sa magma chamber. And then, lava, nasa labas. Okay? Nasa labas na siya. And the magma composed of different elements like the silicon, oxygen, meron ding yung calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, meron ding iron and aluminum. But the most, the top element composition are the oxygen and silicon. Oxygen is 46.6% and silicon 27.7%. Okay, the process under the Earth's crust where the formation and movement of the magma occur is known as the magmatism. So the formation of the magma and movement of the magma is known as magmatism. Saan nangyayari ang magmatism? Okay? It is located in the lower part of the Earth's crust. Ayan, nasan ba dito? Based from the given illustration, it is located in the lower part of the Earth's crust. Ayan, sa bandang baba. And then, at the upper portion of the mantle. So, nasan yung upper portion of the mantle? And that is known as asthenosphere. It is the origin of magma where the partial melting occur. Okay? So that is magmatism. Now, the melting in the mantle requires one of the three possible events to occur. So ano yung mga events na yon para mag-melt, mag-undergo ng partial melting? Okay, one is an increase in temperature. Two, decrease of pressure. Three, addition of volatiles. Okay, let us discuss the increase in temperature. So, as seen in the picture, normally at high temperature, when the magma is the temperature of magma is high enough to melt the rock in contact. So, ayan, magkakaroon ng partial melting on this part, yung wherein the magma is in contact with the rock. And that happens at convergent boundaries where tectonic plates are crashing together or close together. Diyan, magkakaroon ng increase in temperature. So, partial melting happen. Then here, dati ang natin, before the increase in temperature is also increase in pressure. Now, this is
Yes.
different. A decrease of pressure. So, let us recall the formula of pressure, wherein the pressure is the force exerted per unit area. So recall also the relationship of the quantity, not the human relationship, yung boyfriend girlfriend. In quantity, we have to consider the relationship of the quantity if the pressure and the force that is directly proportional. Meaning, as one quantity increases, the other quantity increases. Kapag mataas ang force, mataas din yung pressure, right? Kapag mababa ang force, mababa rin yung pressure. Now, for the relationship of the pressure and the area, okay, dun sa bandang baba, the force divided by the area. So, the pressure is inversely proportional with the area. Meaning, as the pressure increases, the area or mababa yung area. It is opposite. So, let's have an analogy. This ball pen, the tip of your ball pen, ayan, pwedeng i-ano nyo sa fingertip ninyo. The tip of your ball pen is smaller area. And then the back of the ball pen, in terms of area, bigger. Mas malaki yung area niya. Ayan. Now, ano ang mas mataas ang pressure? Ano yung mas masakit? Is it the tip or the back of the ball pen? Ayan. Ano ang mas masakit? Or which is greater pressure? Okay, good
Which
afternoon,
has greater
Adelia.
pressure.
Okay. So, alin ang mas mataas ang pressure? Is it at the tip or at the back? Anong mas masakit? So, eto, right? The tip. When we compare it here, what happened? What happened to the magma? The magma rises up. So, what happened to the area? Lumaki yung area niya. Therefore, what happened to the pressure? Decrease. So, it's opposite. Lumaki yung area, and then yung pressure, bumaba. So, that is what we call the decompression melting. Is that clear? And this process occurs at the mid-ocean ridge. Okay po. Next. And then, the last is the addition of volatiles. Okay, the addition of volatiles, when the water is added into rock, what will happen to the rock? It will melt easily, or the melting point of the rock decrease. Same also with the oxygen. Kapag meron siyang carbon dioxide or any gas, the melting point of the rock lessen. Mas mababa, mas madali siyang ma-melt. Okay? And that is known as the flux melting. The melting point of minerals within the rocks decrease and can trigger partial melting, and that is usually happen at the subduction zone. Okay, dito sa wherein part the plate is over the other. Ito dito sa bandang baba. So, next. Let's have this a sentence completion. Walang alternatives. All you have to do is type your answer, type the word needed to complete the sentence. Okay, number 1, blank is composed of blank hat, molten rocks located beneath the earth, specifically in the melted mantle rock and oceanic plate. So here in number 1, anyone? Okay, ano natin? That is magma. Magma is composed of what? Ay, ang number one lava, it's magma. Yung magma that is inside the magma chamber, yung lava na nasa labas. Composed of, what is this? What is the word? It's composed of hot, that is semi-liquid. Semi-liquid, hot molten rocks located beneath the earth. Okay, so let us proceed to number two. When magma solidifies, it creates blank. Okay, ano yon? Found on the surface of dirt. O, eto na. Number two na po. Number two, okay. Number two, ayun. Thank you. You got the correct answer. Colleen Abletes Labastida. And then in number two, lava, you're right. Rhea Blanca Agabal. Ay, tama. When magma solidifies, it creates, found on the surface of the earth, it's igneous rock. Magma, semi-liquid, lava, lava, lava. In number two, when magma solidifies, it creates the type of rock. Okay. Lava na nga, pero it creates the type of rock. That igneous rock. Then magma is found in the blank. Ano to? Of the volcano while it is found on the surface. Yung una muna, magma is found in the blank of the volcano. Saan nakikita ang magma? Magma is stored in that area. That is known as the magma chamber. Magma is found in the magma chamber of the volcano while
Ito na, Tutor Jules, yung kaninang
Okay.
sinasagot nila, lava.
lava is found on the surface of Earth once the blank erupts, and that is volcano. Blank is a process under the Earth's crust where formation and movement of magma occur. Ayun. So that is magmatism. Magma, saglit lang.
Alright, number 5 is magma is mostly composed of the elements blank and blank. So dalawa yun, na-mention ni Tutor Jules kanina. Primarily, it's made up of silicon and, of course, our oxygen. Let's proceed with number 6. Magma present in the lower crust and upper mantle of the earth is, napakita ni sagot, is formed or generated through the process of, ayan, yung kanina dinidiscuss ni Tutor Jules, one of the 3 factors no can cause partial melting. Let's continue. Ito yung mga kanina
Okay.
discuss ni Tutor Jules.
The melting in the mantle requires one of the 3 possible events to occur. Ano na yung mga yon? Let us
Aning
recall.
tatlong yun?
Okay, increase in temperature, the decrease of pressure, and the addition of volatiles. Okay, continue. And number 8, conduction in mantle happens when heat is transferred from hotter molten rock to the earth's cold crust. This process is known as the heat transfer. It happens at saan yun? At the convergent boundaries where tectonic plates are crashing together. And number 9, this is known as during the convection, rocks tend to go upward, and then the pressure, okay, na-explain ko to kanina. This is known as the partial decompression melting. This process occurs at the mid-ocean ridges, underwater mountain system. Then when water or carbon dioxide is added to hot rock, saan yan?
Blank occurs.
That is
Anong
the
process?
flux melting. It occurs around what? The subduction
zones.
Okay, for the assessment, question number 1. What term is used to describe a semi-liquid hot molten rock located beneath the earth?
Yan. So pwede silang humabol ng answer, Tutor Jules, ha?
Yes po. And then in what part of the earth does magmatism happen? Saan yan? Yung part of magmatism, it's in the asthenosphere. And then what are the 2 most abundant element in magma? Ano na yun ulit? It's the silicon and oxygen. And in number 4, what process occurs if there are formation and movement of magma under the Earth's crust? Ano na yan? The process that is the partial melting. Letter C. Okay. And the number 5, which the following is not a factor of partial melting. It's an increase in pressure. Ayun. Na-emphasize yan kanina. And then, okay, nature is balance. The heat inside the earth released through the volcanic eruption. Many people are affected though there is a positive effect in our nature. It gives more nutrients in the soil to be more productive. And we have also to balance our life. The best and safest thing is to keep a balance in our life, acknowledge the great power around us, those who are leading us. We have to follow and follow also the power in us or the
Mm.
willpower natin.
Mm.
If
Ano
you
bang
can
sabi
do
ni
that
ano,
and
Tutor
live that
Jules?
way, you are really a wise man. So be inspired and be blessed. Yan po.
Be
Balance
blessed.
ang nature.